Who on Who? The podcast devoted to the review of classic series Doctor Who DVDs in no particular order.
Greetings, fellow Doctor Who fans, and welcome to a Shiver Me Timbers edition
Yarr.
of Who on Who. Yeah, it was very nice.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm a practicing pirate, so.
You said something about it being like Talk Like a Pirate Day coming
Talk
up.
Like a Pirate Day was a couple weeks ago, so we're doing that in observance of Talk Like a Pirate
Well,
Day.
you're doing that. I'm just going to sound stupid if I do it. But welcome anyway to Who on Who. We are your hosts, David Huey.
And I am Marty Huey.
And Marty's back at the mothership.
Well, you see, the thing was, so many people complained about the sound quality of the last issue, or the last episode, I just moved back in, so.
Yeah, I had some splaining to do to the wife. No, I'm just kidding. Marty's back home for the weekend visiting, so we thought, why not take advantage of being in the same room to go ahead and record this edition of Who on Who, where we're going to be reviewing Peter Davison's Enlightenment.
Enlightenment, the first Davison story I have done since we've been on. Or since we've been on together.
And possibly the last.
And
No, I'm just kidding.
No.
We have a whole bunch to do, so yeah, we do need to get...
And this is actually a milestone, because since I've been on, after this episode, we will officially done one of every Doctor in the classic series, except the 8th.
Yes.
Yeah.
But, I mean, if you consider our exclusive announcement about the 8th Doctor...
That's coming soon.
We've kind of tickled a little bit, so we're okay there. Had an interesting day today because you're in town. Of course, you know, Mother decided that she wanted to do something unusual and fun. So we drove up to Dandridge, Tennessee for the Scots-Irish Festival.
It was actually kind of fun.
It was a little fun. Yeah, it was basically a... Dandridge is the second oldest city in Tennessee. It was founded in 1763, I believe. I saw on a sign on the way up there. That stuff always infatuates me. And it was basically one small downtown street. They had roped off with a bunch of tents and booths and a bunch of guys in kilts walking around. And food.
Lots of food.
My God.
I never knew you could freeze a piece of cheesecake and put chocolate, like dip it in chocolate and make that a snack.
Only in America.
Only in America.
And we on a stick. Of
on a
all
stick.
Things. Yes. So, yeah,
that's why you come to America. We have frozen cheesecake dipped in chocolate on a stick.
On a stick, yeah. And it was good. And let's see what else. We had fish and chips.
Yes, for the first time. I quite enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was very good. Although the chips were more like shoestring fries. They weren't.
Yeah.
They weren't what I think of as chips, which are usually bigger, like Arthur Treacher's used to have. But anyway, that's about the American attempt at chips.
Mm-hmm.
And also had a Scottish meat pie, which is something that my grandmother and grandfather used to eat a lot, and my grandmother would make them for us. And it was quite good. I gave you a taste of that.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Brought back some fond memories for me. A couple of interesting things. They were teaching some little kids there how to dance, doing the Scottish dance. And I happened to notice that only at a Scottish festival would be the first instructions to a child to dance were make a tight fist. So that was a little unusual.
Followed by swinging it at your partner.
We also doing a little walking around. And for those of you who have come onto the show recently, you don't know this, but Huey, our last name, is actually a Scottish name. My maternal grandparents actually came here from Scotland as well, so I've got quite a bit of Scottish blood in me from different areas. But the Hueys actually came from a place called Ayrshire, and while they were a very small family, they were part of the MacDonald of the Isles clan. And so Marty found the clan badge and the clan motto, which I believe was per Mara per Terra, which you discovered meant...
not in the face.
Yes. Anywhere but the face. But that was quite fitting for us. So, but we did have a great time. So on the off chance that anybody from Dandridge, Tennessee or around that area is listening, great fun, and we will be back to eat more soon. But if anyone is in that area and wants to get up there, it's not a bad little ride. Just East Tennessee, take I-40 to exit 417, and have a blast. Have a turkey leg and a meat pie in honor of Who on Who. So there you go.
That's right.
Also in honor of Who on Who, we've been talking about this for quite a while behind the scenes and a little bit
on the show. Yeah,
I've made a few empty promises, I'll admit, and I apologize.
Those promises have come to fruition.
They have. The new Who on Who apparel store is now open on the website. You go to obviously www.whoonwho.com. Click on the store link. We have men's apparel, women's apparel, children's apparel. We also have non-apparel items like mouse mats, coffee cups, and all of that. But the jewel in the Who on Who store crown, say it for me one time.
Bagger.
That's right. The Packer t-shirt that we laughed about and kind of said, we ought to do this. It has come to fruition. It's there. You can look at it. You can pick out different colors to put it on. Tobias Vaughn. Done in sort of an Art Deco style. Wouldn't you call it like a
those,
Warhol kind of?
Yeah, it's a parody on those Barack Obama posters that had hope on them.
Yes, exactly. And of course, Dave Hingley, the man with the artistic vision and all the talent here at Who on Who, put the shirt together. We've had a lot of people comment on Facebook about it.
About how much they love it, but nobody's bought it.
Yeah, but nobody's bought one yet. So,
get out there and buy it.
Put your money where your mouth is, because it does, in a very small way, help to support the cost of the podcast. And it just kind of lets us know. Plus,
it looks good.
It looks great. And I'll tell you something. I feel, of course, you can always go and get a Who on Who shirt. But I always think deep down a little weird about the idea of somebody walking around with us on their shirt.
Yeah.
Unless you're chopping wood or
I don't know. I'm kind of
like
vain. I'd like people walking around with my face
so
on
it would
their
be
shirt.
kind of weird to bump into somebody like, in a crowd somewhere.
Hey, that's me.
And then go, hey, that's me, pointing at one of, hopefully it's not a woman, That could be very uncomfortable. But anyway.
That's an arrest waiting to happen.
Yeah, you know it. But yeah, you can pick up the Packer t-shirt. We're also looking at taking some of our favorite show logos, because we've gotten a lot of compliments on Dave's artwork for the various show logos that he does. For those of you listening to the Enhanced podcast, you get a chance to see a little more of Dave's artwork. But the one here for Enlightenment is cute.
They're all, I like them all. Honestly.
I do.
I don't think he's ever sent me one where I've gone, nah, that's not right.
It's really, really hard to pick a favorite. So, here's what I suggest. If you're inclined to go that route because you like the show logo, pick your favorite episode.
Yeah.
If we've done it. If we haven't done it, hold off, because I promise some great things are coming. And, of course, Dave always meets the challenge and exceeds
always
it.
delivers.
Always, well above. So, if we haven't in the last 5 minutes said thank you to Dave and Mike Hingley both, thank you guys. And they had a birthday recently. Mm-hmm. So I unlocked the bunker. I let them out this time.
Did they come back?
They did, actually, on their own. It's kind of like...
it's good to keep them on the honor system.
Well, it's like a Skinner box. It's kind of like Pavlov's dog. Now that we just...
they got hungry and came back.
They did. And they know where the free internet and all that stuff is. So they came back, and we're very happy to have them. So... but on to one last announcement before we get into listener feedback email. And this announcement is a difficult one to make, but this is regarding Gallifrey 22 this year, of course, in February. I've been talking a lot about Gallifrey. It seems like almost nonstop since I went last year. And unfortunately, I've come to the decision this year, as difficult as it was, that I'm not going to be attending Gallifrey 22, and Marty's not either. We're going to hold off. I want to make it very clear that our decision not to attend Gallifrey 22 has nothing to do with the Gallifrey 1 organization, has nothing to do with the convention itself, with any of the guests that are going to be there. I would love to be able to go, and I would love to be able to take you. Mm-hmm. The decision on our part was purely financial, trying to be more financially responsible in these times right now. Mrs. Huey and I are trying to get some debt paid off and stock a little money away in a savings account. And so realistically, we're looking at being able to go to Gallifrey 23, And when I did talk to Dave about it, because I gave him the heads up, he had already, I think, started having some fairly concrete plans about going this year. Dave has decided to hold off as well, and I gotta embarrass him for a minute, and I have to say that I'm deeply humbled that he wanted so much to meet us in person and hang out with us that he's gonna put off his plans for a year. So I don't for 1/2 of a second think that anybody's going to Gallifrey just to see us. That's ridiculous. But I did want to let the listeners know that we wouldn't be there so that you wouldn't waste any of your valuable time looking for us amongst the sea of other podcasters. And there are tons there that do a great job and are a lot of fun to hang out with. The guys from Podshock will be there. The guys from Radio Free Skaro will be there. They're officially there, according to the Gallifrey One website. They're the official podcasters. Radio Free Skaro and Podshock are. Really? I'm pretty sure Chip from 2 Minute Time Lord will be there. I believe Steve and Sean from TARDIS Tavern will be there. So
they mentioned
that's a party waiting to happen right there. So hopefully Gallifrey 23, everyone. And I apologize, but if you're on the fence about going, go. I mean, definitely go. Yeah, I think you'll love it. For us, it's just a financial. So I just sort of wanted to put that out there, just so someone wasn't expecting us to be somewhere that we're not. All right. Well,
all right. On to happier news.
Yes.
Email.
Yes. All right. That sounds good. Let's go to listener email.
Here's the mail, it never fails. It makes me want to wag my tail. When it comes, I want to wail.
Okay, this first email comes from Kevin in Swansea. Kevin writes in, says, hi, David and Marty. Just finished listening to your review of the Daleks DVD. Great show, as usual. Well done. Couple of points on the show. Yes, I agree with your feedback, contributor, about the ongoing story of Rounders bats. Being as I played Rounders at school with the girls, because I was crap equals ruggish cricket, he says, I can confirm that bats are no bigger than a copper's function. I guess he's referring to a billy club that a cop would carry, right? Ace's bat was most definitely a baseball bat. You mentioned that David Graham was the first Dalek voice artist. Well, almost correct. He was part of the first Dalek voice team, Peter Hawkins being the senior partner. Also, you may be interested to know that David was the voice behind Lady Penelope's butler, Parker, from Jerry Anderson's Thunderbirds. Yes, my lady. As for the story itself, I don't remember seeing it on TV, but I must have, because by the end of 1963, I was a Dalek fanatic, and they never scared me or my school friends. We thought they were great. We exterminated everything in the schoolyard. What I do remember, though, is going to the local cinema on a Saturday afternoon and seeing the first Peter Cushing movie, which was a remake of the Daleks TV story. I'll never forget it. Technicolor, Cinescope Daleks. Wow. What a treat for someone who's used to watching Doctor Who on a small, flickery, black and white TV set. If I remember correctly, it cost about 1 old British shilling to watch a main feature in those days. And then he puts in parentheses for us Americans over here, he says 5 pence or about 8 cents in modern money. Those were the days. Looking forward to the next show. Bye for now. Kevin in Swansea. Kevin, thank you for the email. And wow, how awesome was that to grow up and be part of Dalek Mania? I mean, that's, being part of Beatlemania too. Although I think Dalek Mania may have eclipsed Beatlemania in certain parts.
Maybe crossed over a couple times.
A little bit, yeah. But that's great, and that's a fantastic email. Thank you very much for that. I think the baseball bat discussion is about put to bed.
You'd think so, but I'm pretty sure we're still going to be talking about this time next year.
Until someday when we meet Sophie Aldred, and she says, "No,
what kind of bat did you have?"
It was a long Rounders bat, and then it'll start all over again. But hopefully not. So
I can't believe movies were 8 cents at one point. Like $10 to get into a movie now.
Oh, yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
I don't know anybody that works at a theater anymore, so I can't get in for free.
I think, see, you've been spoiled for so long. I think the cheapest I remember a full evening movie was like $4.50.
Man.
It's the cheapest I remember it being, and that was...
You can't even get a popcorn for $4.50 anymore.
No, you don't even get the finger from the kid working the counter anymore for $4.50.
That's $5.
So, anyway, next email's from Mark Nuttall, of course.
Of course.
Mark writes in, says, another corking show. Couple of points to raise. No offense intended regarding your scoring of the shows. One of the joys of this show is that everyone has a different favorite story. I may disagree with you, but I absolutely uphold your right to be wrong anytime. Thank you, Mark. Secondly, when Doctor Who started each episode, it had its own title, and this carried on until the Gunfighters. After this, each episode just had a number. Great review of the Daleks, but I gave you my opinions when I thought you were going to show it. Finally, on the DVD front, I agree wholeheartedly. I don't like the Twin Dilemma, but I own it. I need to own them all. Two Entertain do a brilliant job for us, and we must support them to the hilt. I haven't had a chance to watch Enlightenment again, so I'll get on with this and report back. DWMR, he's talking about the Doctor Who media review site that he told us about last time. They do a similar job to you guys, not better certainly. It's just a good excuse to watch or read or listen to a show each month. It is certainly not any substitute for your terrific show. Hope college is going well, Marty.
It is.
Yes, college is going well?
It's going well. I'm getting piled up with homework.
Well, we'll make this quick then, so you can get back on it. Marty's taking Japanese.
I am taking Japanese.
Which is cool because I was thinking maybe for a future episode, you could do your part in Japanese.
I don't know about the entire part. I could probably do the intro in Japanese.
Really?
Maybe. That'd be cool.
That might be very cool. Well, you could basically make up anything. I have no idea what you're saying.
Know. I don't know that much Japanese. Yeah, I know how to introduce myself. That's about it.
Really?
Yeah.
And how do you do that?
It depends. There's like 3 or 4 different things you say.
Oh.
Yeah.
It sounds so much more complicated than English. And I always
if
thought
you're
English
introducing
was
yourself, it's more like introducing yourself to a class, like a group of new people. Hi, nice to meet you, Martin. So this is how old I am. From that kind of.
They throw all that out there?
Yeah.
Wow.
When you're introducing yourself to like a class, say, hey.
I still don't offer up how old I am.
Well, she taught us that in case somebody asks when we go. And I know
you should have taught you how to say none of your business. That's how we do it over here in the States.
She taught us I don't understand, and she's taught us how to ask the time.
Yeah, true. All right, well, that's cool.
Yeah.
Okay, next email comes from Kyle Anderson. Kyle says, hi, David and Marty. Really enjoyed the episode as always. I like the Daleks, but I totally agree about the length. They were clearly stretching for time to fill up weeks. This is never more evident than in episode 6, when 20 out of 24 minutes are spent watching each member of the invading Thal and human force swing across a crevice in the cave. Amen, brother. What did the trailer for the episode say? Enjoy next week's exciting spelunking episode of Doctor Who. Still, it's an absolute important story and one I recommend everybody watch. Thanks again for the great episode, and I'm very excited for Enlightenment next time. One of my favorite Davison stories. Your pal in the West, Kyle Anderson from Los Angeles. Kyle, again, sorry we won't get to meet you this year, but since you're in L.A., it shouldn't be a major expense for you, I'm assuming, to come to Gallifrey every year. And so that sounds awesome. And as a matter of fact, because you're in L.A., maybe you would like to be our Gallifrey correspondent.
Hey, there you go.
That would be cool.
Record some stuff at
get in touch with us. Maybe you can do some recording for us on the ground, and we'll see if we can't do something like that. So, okay, next email comes from, this is a new contributor here. The email address is David96H, and it says, just want to let you guys know I love the show. It's funny, informative, and lets people know what DVDs are worth buying. I listen to your podcast via iTunes all the way over here in Ireland. No leprechaun or drinking jokes, please. Oh, come on. Just one? Can I do one?
Come on. Are they after your Lucky Charms? I'm sorry, I had to do one. We just lost him. He's gone now.
Yeah. Wait. Where did the Irish family take their kids for vacation?
I don't know.
To a different bar. Okay, sorry.
Okay,
sorry. We're done. We're done completely. All right. And he says, I'm a massive Doctor Who fan. By the way, Spearhead from Space would be a great DVD review. I love the story, but know nothing about the DVD. Thank you for that, David, and a great name, by the way. Let me just say that Spearhead from Space would be an awesome DVD to do. However, it was and I'm kind of talking out of turn here because I haven't watched it in a while, but there aren't a lot of great extras on Spearhead from Space. And I suspect, if anything, is going to be revisited, quote unquote, in some of these new expanded editions, similar to what we've seen here with Enlightenment.
God.
that they will add a lot of extras to Spearhead from Space. So if you don't have it in your collection now, I would almost, I would agree with you, Marty. I would say hold off until we see what To Entertain, thank you, has planned. Okay. This is a fun one. This email is from Richard Swarbrick, who asked us a very unique question here. It says, Dear Doctors Hui and Hui, thank you so much for beaming your wonderful podcast direct to my computer anytime, Richard, and only for you. I've been on board since about episode 3, and I must say that Who on Who is far and away my favorite podcast.
Aw.
Mine too.
I know.
Isn't that funny? What a coincidence.
Weird. I look for it in the feeds every day.
He says, I thought the solo show was great, but I love the addition of Hui Jr. to the TARDIS team, and I think it makes for an even better podcast.
I'm not sure I like that people keep calling me Hui Jr.
Just to weigh in on your baseball bat conversation. Oh, good Lord. I believe you can purchase a baseball bat in just about any sports or department store in the UK. I defy anyone to find a shop that sells a rounder's bat. I love cricket, but I don't think a cricket bat would have suited Ace's anti-establishment style. I think that's a good point.
I think that's the point I made when we recorded that show like 6 years ago.
That's where I heard it. Okay. The reason I'm writing is that a friend and I are working on a Doctor Who song, and we're wondering if you would help us come up with a Doctor Who-related name for our band. I love the Packer t-shirt. Oh, he's seen it. Okay. Yeah. Maybe you should have a push button on the front that says Packer when you press it. Say it for me one more time.
Packer.
Thank you. Best wishes. Keep up the good work. Richard Swarbrick. Okay, Richard. Marty and I put our collective
I read that email
together.
And I was probably like doing something important. I just dropped it and made a list. Actually,
he did. Go ahead and throw some of your ideas out because I love them. So.
Let's see. The first one, Torch Weird. I wasn't really. It'd take a while.
That was Torch Weird.
Torch Weird.
Okay.
Cyber Control.
Cyber Control. Yeah.
Good. Omega's Wrath.
Omega's Wrath. Nice.
Crazy Tom's Wild Ride.
Crazy Tom's Wild Ride. Okay.
I like that because you can almost see like a picture of like Tom Baker in the scarf, like
on the kick drum.
On the kick drum, with a big smile on his face.
Absolutely. Yes.
And my personal favorite is You Never Irritate Time Lords, which works both ways because you have that and then you abbreviate it UNIT.
See, there you go. And then we started freeforming a little bit after that because I hadn't written anything down. I, of course, came up with some of the obvious, like the Time Lords or the Gallifreyans, the Brigadier and Unit.
Yeah.
Then I started getting a little more obscure. I thought of something like 12th Regeneration, Delta and the Bannermen.
Ooh, that'd be nice.
What was some of the other ones that we talked about? There were
Council of Peladon.
No, Musicians of Peladon.
Musicians of Peladon.
That's the one. Yeah, we were tossing around a Peladon idea, and we thought, because they have Monsters of Peladon and all this stuff, and
Creature of Peladon.
And Creature of Peladon. So then we thought, well, Musicians of Peladon. These guys come from Peladon. They left because there's too many monsters there. It's crazy.
They don't appreciate music.
So that's just a few ideas. If anyone else has any ideas for Richard and his band. I don't know that he would mind, but you can send them to us, and we will forward them on, or we'll
read them on the show.
We'll read them on the show.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, Richard probably has a band name already. 3 years from now, we'll see. How about, here's one for you. Baseball bat.
Baseball.
There you go, Richard.
Or is it a rounder's bat? Well, see, that's going to spark a whole nother discussion.
That's true. Okay, all right. But anyway, there's just a few ideas for you, Richard, and thank you for asking our lowly opinion, but we appreciate that. And finally, last email, Mark Nuttall.
He wrote 2?
He did. He actually came back. He was jonesing. All right. This is about Enlightenment. So Mark writes with his thoughts on Enlightenment. He says, Gentlemen, firstly, it's not a long time since I watched Enlightenment. The box set has not been out long after all, so for a change, I watched Disc 2, the special edition movie edit version. You know what? I hadn't read this email until just now. I'm going to hold this until we start talking about it.
Oh, okay.
And then I'm going to read it. All right, so Mark and everyone else, hang tight. Mark, I'm going to read this second one after we get to DVD extras toward the tail end of the podcast, because I'd be curious to hear your thoughts sort of intermingled with ours as well. Okay, so all right, well then
I think that's every email we have, right?
That's every email. Yeah.
I can think of.
So we will go ahead, as always, folks. You can write in at feedback@whoonwho.com, and of course, we'll read it on the air unless you explicitly say don't read this.
Even then, maybe.
Yeah, you can catch us on Facebook. We have a Who on Who page. You can go to the website, which is www.whoonwho.com. You can follow me on Twitter, twitter.com/David Huey, and thank you to a lot of my new followers that have come along. I assume on the heels of the 96 television movie exclusive. And
we've gotten really popular about that.
Yeah, that one has had quite the positive backlash. So, but anyway, all right. Well, let's go ahead and let's set the TARDIS controls here for March 1st, 1983. We're going to go check out the 128th story of Peter Davison as the Doctor. Here we go. It's Enlightenment. Okay, like I said, this is the 128th story. This story was broadcast March 1st, 1983. It is a Fifth Doctor story featuring Tegan and Turlough. Mm-hmm. No Nyssa.
No. This is the third in a box set.
Yes.
It's like the third part of a story, so we should probably give a little backstory.
Yeah, go ahead and bring
what's going on.
Go ahead and fill it
in. Basically, in the first story of this trilogy, Modern Undead, we meet Turlough, who is a schoolboy, or I guess a student, and he comes across the Doctor after a meeting with the Black Guardian. Basically sends him on a mission to kill the Doctor.
Right.
And, Turlough battles with his moral conscience, that kind of stuff. And then the next
We
story...
also need to point out that Turlough is actually not an Earthling.
Is he not?
No, he's on Earth. But he's actually from a planet called Tryon, and they don't mention that until later on. But yeah, Turlough's an alien. So
I actually know that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, all right. Well, then I think that was all for Modern Undead. There was the whole story with the Brigadier, but I don't want to.
We may go back and review.
That's just the stuff that happened in consequence of the story. Mm-hmm. And then the next story is called Terminus. And he is on board the TARDIS now. He's still on his mission to kill the Doctor. He actually ends up in Adric's old room.
Yes, he does. They mention
that to him. Nyssa gets somehow Nyssa ends up on another ship. TARDIS crashes with the ship, and then a door opens, and then they all go over there. And then through a series of events, Nyssa decides to leave TARDIS. Yeah,
she decides to stay on Terminus, and of course we'll go into that when the time comes that we review Terminus. Yeah. But yeah, Terminus is the second disc in the 3-disc set.
Yeah, again, this is just consequence.
Yeah, which brings us to Enlightenment, which is why Tegan and Turlough are the only two companions. Yeah. So. Okay. Well,
as far as Enlightenment, I guess we should get going on that.
Yeah. Enlightenment starts off with the TARDIS experiencing a severe power drain.
Yes.
And the Doctor is in communication with the White Guardian.
We haven't seen since the Key to Time.
Right. We have not seen him since the Key to Time. He's looking okay, though. I think he was...
still looks good.
Maybe doing some cardio or something, because he looked pretty healthy. And
eating a lot more carrots.
Yeah, and he warned the Doctor, but his reception was bad.
Yeah.
So
he was going through a tunnel. Problem.
He went through that dead spot.
Whatever you do...
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Whatever you do, be sure you don't click, and then, what? No, but yeah, it was kind of like that. And then the TARDIS ends up on what appears to be an Edwardian sailing ship. And then we find out later that it is a space race.
Space race.
With a...
Beautifully done.
A group with a race of people called the Eternals. And the Eternals are basically, they live outside of time and space, so they are vastly powerful in most respects, except that they actually need the minds of human people to, I guess, basically to inspire them to create.
What's interesting about that, outside of time and space, is that they technically live in the void, gateway in the new series between dimensions.
Yes, that's right, and it wasn't actually mentioned, or it wasn't called the void until the new series.
Yeah, but still, it's the same thing.
Right? Yeah.
So that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I hadn't caught that, but yeah, you're right. So they, I do want to mention also that this story was actually written by Barbara Clegg and directed by Fiona Cumming. This is the first Doctor Who story, and possibly the only one. I may be speaking out of turn again, but I know this is the first one that we've reviewed, and since the podcast started, that was written by a woman and directed by a woman. Okay. And I got to give Barbara Clegg huge props because this story is great.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it really, really is a great story, and easily the best one in the three in the box set.
And that's really saying something, because I watched Modern Undead and I really, really liked that story, but I still thought Enlightenment was
I liked Modern Undead too, and it had the Brigadier in it, which is definitely a bonus. That's true, but he didn't shoot anything in this.
No, he didn't.
But
time paradoxes. But that's for another.
That's for another thing. But this is a great story that actually holds up even to this day, which we'll talk about in a little bit. This is also a 2-disc edition of Enlightenment. So if you have, say, a VHS copy of Enlightenment,
get the DVD.
You still need, exactly. You still need to get this DVD, and we will talk about that in a little bit when we get into DVD extras. But on with the story here, some very interesting concepts. The Eternals call humans ephemerals. They don't think anything about them dying because their lives are so minuscule.
To them, I imagine we're a lot more like caterpillars.
Yeah, like insects. Yeah, I mean, just something that I pull the wings off of it and it died. That sort of thing. So yeah, there is that. But then the first mate on the ship that the Doctor's TARDIS lands on,
who was really creepy.
Yes, he was.
That guy. I mentioned that some of the Eternals don't blink. You pointed out a couple of them that did, but I don't think that particular one ever blinks at all in the show.
Yeah. I don't know if that was intentional or not, but they never caught him.
It was actually intentional.
It was.
He didn't blink, and the first scene with him and Tegan is when Tegan's hiding as a stowaway in the side of the ship. Yeah, and it's just, it really creeped me out because it was completely dark. All you saw was her outline, and you just heard him walking around going, "Where are you? Where are you?" And I was a little creeped.
Oh, and he showed up on the scanner too, didn't he? In the TARDIS, remember his hands up on his and then it came up, and then the face up on the screen. I'm like, dude, get off of there! You don't even nose print on the scanner. What's wrong with you? But
just clean that scanner.
I know. But yeah, he was called Mr. Mariner, and he was the first mate to Captain Stryker on that ship.
It sounds like a Star Trek name.
It does, but it was also an airplane. Stryker was the name of the guy that had to land the plane, an airplane. Ted Stryker.
Oh, yeah.
The guy with the drinking problem. Yeah. For those of you who've never seen Airplane, great movie.
Go watch it right now. We'll wait. Pick the wrong week to stop sniffing glue.
Exactly. Anyway, so Captain Stryker, Mr. Mariner, while being creepy and not blinking, seems to be falling in love with Tegan. Mm-hmm. Very interesting. And then the third most prominent Eternal is, of course, Captain Rack.
Aptly named.
Aptly named, yes, very much so. But Captain Rack is Pirate Queen, who has her own buccaneer ship, and basically the gist of the story is that the Eternals are all racing in this space sea race. There's a Chinese junk. There's a
Roman one.
There's a Roman boat.
Like an Alabama steamboat.
There's a Mississippi steamboat. Yeah. And they're all racing for the prize, which is Enlightenment. So some of the ships actually get blown up.
Yeah.
So somebody's actually not playing nice. And so part of the subplot of the story is the Doctor trying to figure out who's doing it. And it's kind of an interesting, I don't know what you thought about this, but I found it to be 9 times out of 10, when you're watching Doctor Who, you sort of have that built-in comfort that the Doctor is the smartest guy in the room and the one holding all of the cards, so to speak.
You really didn't feel that here.
Yeah, you don't. I mean, because these people can read minds. They looked at the Doctor like he was a lesser being to them. So, yeah, he was...
Which I think is something that the Tennant era probably needed more of.
Yeah, well, that's probably a fair assessment.
Yeah, because in that... I'm going to go off on a rant, a short rant here. Like, in that era, he was, no matter where he went, he was the one. He was top. He knew everything. I think it needed this kind of Eternals looking down on him because he's not the smartest. He's not the best in the...
Yeah. But, Davison's Doctor has also been critiqued for being the unsure Doctor, for lack of a better term, the one who wasn't as decisive or, action-oriented, so
he was
to speak.
younger, though.
He was younger, but only physically. I mean, remember, we talked about this with Hartnell last time with the Daleks. Hartnell's Doctor is the youngest Doctor.
Yeah.
He's physically the oldest, but still the youngest Doctor. That's
Fair
why,
enough.
we wrote off a lot of his stubbornness as immaturity, So this Doctor's, the Doctor's now aged.
I think it would almost work both ways. I think his stubbornness and immaturity could just be, not stubbornness could be immaturity as well as his age. Because physically he is very old, and that can be very taxing, I imagine. I'm not that old.
Yeah,
but
you remember later on in the Five Doctors, you remember when the first Doctor asked Tegan to go get him some tea, and Tegan goes all off on him. The Fifth Doctor says to her, be patient, Tegan. I used to be, I forget the exact terminology, but he ends it by saying, fortunately, one mellows with age.
Yeah.
Well,
he is definitely more mellow, but I was going to say it almost works both ways. It might just be that he's not only physically younger and therefore undecisive, but it could all just be getting older and he's seen a lot. I'm sure about it.
Yeah. That's and it's some of it's just the personality of that particular incarnation of the Doctor, but I liked it. I liked the more level playing field. I liked the fact that while the Doctor does outsmart the Eternal, finally,
because he kind of has to.
Yeah, of course he does. But nobody is more surprised about it than one of the other Eternals who says, "Ephemeral's never done that before." So, yeah, we do come to a conclusion on the problem with Turlough and the Black Guardian.
Yes. Very well executed, I thought.
Yeah, I thought so, too.
Because even during the story, it kept going back and forth. Like, at the end of, I think, part 2, Turlough throws himself off the ship, screaming, "I'll never serve you again. I'll never serve you," talking to the Black Guardian. Right. Because the Black Guardian cursed him to stay on the ship forever.
Yeah, and then you notice that every time Turlough gets in a bind, which seems to happen a lot with him, even after he said that, he would pull that little Yankee Candle thing out of his pocket, and start begging the Black Guardian to help him.
Yeah. Well, I think part of that is that he's cowardly. I mean, in the beginning, at least. I haven't seen his later stories, I couldn't say. But also, he doesn't... I don't think he really trusts the Doctor yet at this point. He's still technically supposed to be killing him.
Yeah.
And when you first meet the Black Guardian, Turlough, the Black Guardian tells him that the Doctor is the most evil creature in the...
Right, yeah.
But I really liked the scene where he was in the basically the airlock type thing, chamber. Air was being sucked out, and the Yankee Candle thing, and screamed, "Help me, please, I beg of you!" And the Guardian came up and just said, "Die."
Yeah, right. And then the Doctor saved him instead. Yeah. So
that was. I mean, I think that went a long way for him trusting the Doctor.
Right. All right. Well, then this is a 4-part story.
This is a 4-part story. Good length.
It's a good length. It moves quick. There's of course a lot of running in corridors and things like that.
Running in the same corridor.
Yeah, running in the same corridor. But
which I still thought was okay because the corridor was plain enough to where you never really noticed.
Right. Right. I think it's very well acted. Mm-hmm. I think it's very well directed. And like I said, a great, well-written story. I've got quite a fondness for this, and it was the first time I've seen it.
Really?
So, yeah, I've never seen
First time I've seen
before.
It. Also, I think I liked it better because I technically watched it twice. I think I liked it better the second time.
Okay.
Because I watched it all. First time I kind of watched it broken up because I'm kind of busy now. I had to watch it in parts. But the second time I watched it, I kind of watched it all the way through, and I liked it.
Okay. So we definitely it's gonna be kind of hard. This is normally where Marty and I would rate this particular DVD, and we will do that.
I did want to make one point.
Yeah.
Towards in episode 4, they mention the Doctor says, "I'm going to need my TARDIS if I'm going to save Turlough," and they say, and he says, "Where is it?" And say, "It's hidden in your mind."
Yes, because they do take the TARDIS away from him. That's correct.
When they said that, though, I guess because I'm a child of the new series, I kind of made a connection to Big Bang.
Oh, okay. The last episode of
the newest series, where Amy remembered the TARDIS and it came out. I don't know if because the crack was spawning off of her, behind the crack and hiding in her mind or something. I don't know. I made some sort of weird connection there.
Well, and it's probably not a huge leap because you have to remember that people like Stephen Moffat and RTD and all them are also, while they're not children of the new series, they were deeply impacted by the original series.
Yeah.
They're big fans of the original series. So I wouldn't put it past Moffat to be using certain aspects of the classic series for inspiration, and that could have been one of them. I don't know. So I don't know that they would overtly ever say, yeah, this comes from episode 4 of Enlightenment,
right.
Because they have a much wider range audience now, I think, than they used to. But like I was going to say, this is normally the spot where we would review it, and I would say let's go ahead and review it. But I do want to throw an idea to you, which I had forgotten to mention to you off air, so forgive me if I catch you off guard. A complete surprise here. Normally we give out our cloister bells, for each story, and then we had when we had the email from Mark and we were talking about the different ratings, and I said I like to factor things in. Of course, we're all very complimentary of To Entertain and of the extras and everything else that are on the DVDs. So I think going forward from this point on, what I would propose, if you're okay with it, after Enlightenment, or we could even do it on this episode if you want to, I would like to hold our rating until we're completely done with story and extras, and then rate it as the actual
one big
disc.
Thing.
Rate it based on what you get, because most Doctor Who fans have seen these stories. I don't want them to buy or not buy a disc based solely on whether or not the story's good, because sometimes the extras are worth buying the disc.
I would almost do 2 ratings then. I would rate the story as a whole for people who haven't seen the story, and then I would rate the disc itself, the extras on the disc.
Okay, we could do that.
Because, it could be one instance where the story is not that great, but the extras are really good. One dilemma.
Right.
It could be that the story's really good, but the extras are kind of
crazy. Okay.
Alex.
Well, I think what we might do then is go to a star system and maybe remove the cloister bells from banging and banging, so that we're not doing that, 4 times.
I would do that. I would do that. I would just do the cloister bells for the first rating for the story.
Mm-hmm.
Keep it the way it was.
Uniform.
Yeah,
okay.
Thank you. And then maybe just go for stars for the next rating. Nothing too major.
Great. Okay. Well, then let's go ahead and rate this story.
Okay.
1 out of 5. I'll let you go first.
Ooh.
Since you are the junior.
I don't know if I like people calling me that.
That's why I didn't name you David Jr.
That's why I was saying. That's what I was thinking. I read the email. I was like, now I know he named me Martin, so I wouldn't be a junior.
Right. See, Martin's my middle name. For those of you that don't know, I'm David Martin. He's Martin David.
Yeah.
That's because I didn't want him to be a junior. It's okay for people to do it in jest. But he is not a junior.
I'm not a junior.
There are no juniors. Although, I would like to suggest, speaking of, that someday when you have your first son, that you name him David Martin II. Think about it. It's kind of a royalty thing. And then, because he'll probably
I'd have to give him a crown, though.
Yeah, that's fine.
Some sort of crown or a scepter.
Because he'll probably come out bald, like me, right? So all he needs is a little goatee. We can pencil it in with an eyebrow pencil.
We can get him on the show.
Put some little plastic specs on him. in a
this is starting to get weird. Let's get back to the rating.
Yeah, let's get back to the rating. You're right.
Okay. Let's see. I think I'm gonna go with I put down 4 out of 5, but I almost want to give it a 5 out of 5.
It's your call.
I don't know. I'm going to be different. I'm going to give it a 4.75 out of 5.
No, don't do that.
Come on.
You can go half.
Okay.
But you can't go, I mean, you can give it a 4.5.
I can't do a Steve.
No. Those guys, I love those guys. I truly do. Okay. But they need to settle in on one number system and forget the Chinese algebra. And if you guys are listening, that's for you. All right.
Okay. I'll give it a 5 out of 5 then.
5 out of 5.
5 out of 5.
All right. Okay. Let's see. Based on story for me, I hadn't really thought about this ahead of time, but I'm going to give the story a 5 out of 5 as well.
All right.
It's a brave thing, but I think it's well worth it. I think it's well written, and I think, like we mentioned, the story holds up. And the only thing really lacking, the acting holds up, the directing holds up, the story holds up. The only thing lacking really was the special effects, and we're going to cover that in just a minute when we get when we move on here.
Extras.
So let's go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and do
DVD extras then.
DVD extras.
Extra, extra, read all about it. Extra, extra, read all about it.
Okay, like we mentioned here now, this is a 2-disc set for Enlightenment. I want you to be confused. It's a 3-disc box set called the Black Guardian Trilogy.
Black Guardian Trilogy, but then Enlightenment is 2 discs.
Yes, Enlightenment is 2 discs, which means not only do you get Enlightenment the way it was originally transmitted in 4 serialized parts with the original special effects, but you get something that has been affectionately dubbed Re-Enlightenment.
Which is the same story cut up into one movie with completely redone special effects.
Right. No cliffhangers. They put it together in movie format, and they do, like Marty said, they completely go in and CGI and redo all the special effects. Now, if you're a purist, you might be one of those people, I don't want to do this. But we watched this.
Yeah.
And wow.
Oh, my God.
What a difference. What a difference. You still get all the advantages of the acting, the great direction. Fiona Cumming, the director, is the one that sat down and helped storyboard out the Re-Enlightenment version, because she's the one that I basically stole her thinking here. She actually addresses the viewing audience and says, look, this story holds up. It's a great story. The acting is good. Everything's good. Even the set pieces and set design are good. Yeah. The only thing that's really lacking was the budgetary constraints and the special effects. So now, here's Enlightenment the way, I wished we could have done it back in, 1981. Yeah. So I kid you not, this is, I'm stumbling for words here. This is a great thing to sit down and watch. I mean, you just pop this puppy in, sit down.
It moves a lot faster.
Yeah,
too.
It does. It does. They do a little bit of trimming in the editing and all that sort of thing.
Some
which is
scenes
nice.
are cut out, but nothing major.
Right.
Like there's a scene where the Doctor gets captured by the pirates, and then there's another scene of him walking up the stairs having been captured, and they cut the initial capture scene out.
Right.
And just show him.
And some of the running through corridors they trim down. So
which I was okay with that because that got a little.
Well, sure, because we get the idea. Okay, they're in a hurry. We don't need to see him run around that same corner 16 times.
The same corner.
Do it twice and move on. So, but here they weren't trying to pad out, 4 25-minute serials.
Right.
So they were able to do that, and I think the end product is fantastic.
Oh, definitely.
But before we talk any more about Re-Enlightenment, let's go back to disc 1 and discuss the extras that are on disc 1.
Let me say, when we reviewed the Daleks last week, you mentioned how meager the extras were on this disc. I almost thought it was kind of funny that we would reviewing this one, because I looked at the back and there's a ton of extras on here.
Yeah, there really are.
It's insane. I almost filled up a page just on the extras, taking notes on them.
Yeah, it's really something.
Which is more notes than I've ever taken in my life.
Even including your college
class. Yeah.
Lovely. Okay. You will be moving back here eventually, won't you?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, now let's discuss these extras here. First one is the making of documentary, Winner Takes All. And documentary where they talk to Peter Davison, Mark Strickson. They talk to I forget now. Is Janet Fielding in that?
Yes,
I think she is. Yeah. It's been a while since I've seen it, so forgive me there. But I did watch these, and it's your typical making of documentary.
There was nothing spectacular about it.
No, I mean there was some interesting little nuggets of information, but nothing terribly interesting there.
Okay.
Next one is Cast Off, which talks about all the fantastic guest actors that they had.
Yeah, they came on for this show.
Which was really good. What were you going to say about it?
Nothing. I was just going to mention, I thought it was okay. Again, nothing spectacular that stood out.
Interesting. Did find out that the woman that played Captain Rack, and I forget her name, please forgive me, is the woman who sang the in the Hartnell episode, The Gunfighters, the ballad of the Last Chance Saloon, which you never see the singer, but you hear it like as incidental music. She's the person that did that, and it was very interesting. So then we have a really nice little documentary called Single Right Female, and it's a little bit about, it's Fiona Cumming talking about working with Barbara Clegg.
I thought it was just Barbara Clegg.
Is it just Barbara Clegg?
Pretty sure it's just Barbara Clegg talking.
Okay, well, forgive me again. It's been a little while since I've seen these, and I do remember her talking about the writing process and about being approached about writing for Doctor Who. And
I found this one, I was surprised how short this one was.
Well,
it was only about 5 minutes long.
But it's because it's got the potential of being either redundant or being very boring.
Fair enough.
Because, typically, and I don't want to speak for her or really anyone else because I'm not a writer, but I would think that a writer would want their work to speak for them.
Right.
And this one clearly does. So I don't know that she really has that much more to add to it.
The next one was the Story of the Guardians.
Story of the Guardians, yeah.
Detailing the tale of the White and Black Guardians through Doctor Who.
Two guys with avian creatures stuck on their heads.
But not in Key to Time.
No.
They didn't have those. I didn't actually realize that because it's been... Oh, God, we were still at the old house when I saw Key to Time.
Yeah, no, what happened to them? I wonder why they went with birds this time, what the deal was.
It's probably...
I guess.
I don't know.
But let's chat about the Guardians for just a second.
Okay.
Of course, the Black Guardian we see much more of than we do the White Guardian. But there's also the promise at the end of Enlightenment that the Black Guardian's not going to forget that the Doctor has stopped him twice. He stopped him from getting the Key to Time, and he also thwarted him here in Enlightenment. And the White Guardian mentions a third challenge.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I'm certain that this has probably come to pass either in off-television fiction, whether it's in books or Big Finish.
They did a sequel to Key to Time.
Okay.
With Peter Davison. Finish. Key and Time. Which I haven't listened to, so I don't know if he's in that.
Okay, he must be. Well, I would assume he is. But here's my request / plea to anyone who
Stephen
might.
Moffat, if you're listening.
Yes. Bring the Guardians back.
That would be cool.
That would be very
obviously
cool.
You couldn't get the same guys to do it, but
I don't know. The White Guardian looked pretty chipper. No,
actually,
I'm just kidding.
They both passed on.
Yeah.
They mention at the end, or they bring up their pictures and do.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it would be cool even just to see them as some sort of like spectral being
Oh, yeah. Are you kidding? Yeah, the Mill
anything.
could do anything crazy with it right now, but I mean, it would still be. You get the right actors in there. I mean, come on. Time Lords regenerate. Why can't the Guardians make themselves look however they want?
True.
You know, I mean, I think that would be a fantastic thing, and I think there's a lot of Doctor Who.
And that would be another one. That'd be another one. It would throw back to the classic series and make people want to go back and watch Key to Time and Black Guardian.
Sure. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, so Dan Hall, if you're listening, phone up the fine folks down in Cardiff.
Phone up Stephen Moffat. We know you have his number.
Right. Well, and if you don't, find out somebody who does. Get his number first. Call him up and say, hey, the guys over at Who on Who, right, tossed up a completely unoriginal idea that every other Doctor Who fan in the world is probably
hasn't thought of yet.
No, probably has.
And he'll say, hey, I really like that show.
But let's do we do the Guardians, you know? And Stephen Moffat's going to say, listen, you know, those guys, I don't even listen to that show, but, you know.
I think he does. I think he's our number one fan.
Stephen Moffat?
Yeah, he and Matthew Waterhouse. Both.
Until Matthew Waterhouse got to full circle, and that was it.
He was like, no, I'm done. I can't take it.
Yeah. All right. So, after the story of the Guardians, we had the storyboards.
Storyboards, which were okay. Nothing major.
Right. And then audio commentary.
Yes.
You listen to the audio commentary.
I listen to, when I listen to the audio commentary, I generally listen to just the first
episode. Like episode 1.
I just don't have the time anymore. But I did listen to episode 1 on here, and I kind of wanted to go back and listen to the rest of it because it's Peter Davison, Fiona Cumming, the director, Mark Frickson.
Yeah.
And Barbara Clegg,
the writer,
mm-hmm. talking about it, and it was really good actually. It's the kind of commentary we like. Peter
Davison is great in a commentary room with his co-stars.
Oh yeah,
he always is. I did not listen to this one because I knew this was a 2-disc set, and we were going to be going through a whole bunch of material. Well, actually, I have to be completely honest with everybody. I knew that the second edit was on, you know, the re-enlightenment, and I wanted to watch it to see if it was worth people, you know, grabbing disc 2 instead of disc 1. Had no idea there was a completely different set of extras on the second disc until Marty says to me today, well, Dad, did you watch the extras on disc 2? I said, no, I did not. I didn't know they were there. So we sat down here and watched them together, and wow, I mean, you know, we'll get to those in just a moment, but that brings us to the end of there, except there are 2 Easter eggs.
There are 2 Easter eggs, and I think there's some other stuff like radio times and continuity. Stuff that I don't, and a photo gallery, the stuff I don't particularly watch just anyway. Because I'm not really interested in that. But there are 2 Easter eggs on this disc. Right. The Easter eggs are good. They're well worth digging out. Good. And of course, as always, we're not going to tell you where they are, but they're not hard to find. And one of them is actually a very humorous story between Janet Fielding and Peter Davison. So it's well worth trying to track that one down. And that one's on disc 1. Okay. So let's go ahead and move on to disc 2, which is the re-enlightenment edit. Yes. It's the movie edit with the special effects. Bang out of the park. Very good. Mm-hmm. And then the extras are as follows. Should we read the email from Mark since we're on that? Yes, we should. Thank you. Yeah. Remind me. Somebody has to have the memory around here. Right. Somebody who's under the age of 25. Okay, here we go. This is what Mark had to say about this. Mark says, gentlemen, firstly, it's not a long time since I watched Enlightenment. The box set has not been out long after all. So for a change, I watched disc 2, the special edition movie edit version. What a huge improvement. I like this idea for a story anyway. The idea of Eternals racing sailing ships around the solar system for a bit of dull sport is quite intriguing, but never quite pulled off with the limited special effects in the original. I like the fact that when on deck, they are on film as opposed to video. It adds a certain otherworldliness to things. I can see why Captain Rack was so named. She certainly had a cleavage that you could ski down. Thank you, Mark. That's quite the visual. The special edition has the benefit of some vastly improved CGI effects, which look much better, but in keeping with the show. The story is far, far tighter and rips along at a terrific pace. Mr. Mariner's unrequited love for Tegan is well handled and is quite poignant, and somehow the climax makes more sense. Sometimes I'm a little suspect of, quote, special editions, but this really improved the story a lot for me.
finally, Mark goes on to yell at me here. He says, finally, are you serious? Have you never watched The Talons of Wang Chiang? Please do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Just sit down and watch this story. A BBC costume drama, always good. Tom Baker at the very top of his game with some sparking dialogue, a killer ventriloquist doll, Leela in her underwear, Robert Holmes at his best, Philip Hinchcliffe at his best. They even hide a Porsche in Victorian London. Watch the text to find out what I'm on about. Okay.
You had me in underwear.
Yeah. Unless he said Tom Baker's underwear. Which,
no thanks.
But I agree, and we do. We will get to that one very, very soon because
got a lot.
I was actually having lunch with Craig LeBlanc the one time that Craig and I got to meet for lunch. Shout out again to you, Craig, because he's unfortunate enough to live close enough by, and I think he mentioned Talons was his favorite story at the time, and I had said to him that I had never seen Talons, and he threw his drink in my face and got up and left, and hasn't talked to me since.
Didn't even pay for his bill.
So I assume that fans of Doctor Who are pretty adamant about Talons of Wang Chiang, and I
got a lot of Bakers coming up. That one.
Yeah, we do, and it's one that I don't currently own. I know, shame on me. It's pretty cheap right now, but it's also, I believe, coming out in the Revisitations box set,
right?
Which means they're going to be adding some extras to it. So it kind of falls into that category of, hey, I don't have it yet. I'm going to wait until that box set comes out here in Region 1 and pick it up so that I've got it. So once that happens, I promise we will get to it. But anyway, Mark pretty much agrees with us. The Enlightenment,
it was amazing.
It is a wonderful, wonderful edit and a great job on the special effects. But moving on to the extras on the disc, the first extra is actually called Re-Enlightenment, and it's a filmed sit-down with Fiona Cumming and the gentlemen who were the storyboard artists, the scene-by-scene editors, and the special effects CGI guy who was calling in from Canada.
Was it Canada?
Yeah, I believe he was. He was in Canada, and they were talking about. They were doing basically a scene-by-scene breakdown of how they wanted to improve off of the original. So
it was all right.
Yeah, it was interesting. Then, did you have anything else on that one, or did you?
No, not really. It was three people at a table talking. So
right, yeah.
I mean,
the next one's called Original Edit Comparison, and this is actually an episode 3 comparison between the original version that was filmed and what was transmitted, and they show you some things that were. I was a little disappointed in this because I thought it was going to be a comparison between the new version.
Yeah, that's what I thought, and I was like, I didn't care for it. Then was Film Trims was after that, which was also a little dull.
A little, yeah. I nodded off, and well, I'll tell you, I was teetering on the skip button on the remote, and you looked over at me and went, "Wow, this is pretty dull," and so we clipped it there because it's basically, for those of you that don't know what film trims are, it's the editing, it's what's trimmed out normally when they edit a shot for a particular scene, and it also shows footage from unused shots, and so basically what you get is the clapboard. Telling you, scene this, set this, camera so-and-so, click, and then they run the same dialogue 3 or 4 different times.
Right.
So, sorry, there's a reason that they take all that out. Okay, that's not what I'm here for. But anyway.
Yeah, but the next one was Finding Mark Strickson, and this was a documentary about his acting career and his coming to Doctor Who and his post-Doctor.
Yeah, and what he's up to now. I guess he produces nature documentaries.
He does, yeah. He mentioned on the commentary how he has a day job running from dragons.
Yeah, and he, well, I hope he's got good insurance. And, I guess he started out as a musician, which I didn't know.
He did,
so,
but I actually really liked this.
Yeah, it was very good. It was very informative, too, and it was succinct, and I think Too Entertained did a bang-up job with this.
Oh, yeah.
I think that... it was pretty cool. It was kind of off. I found it a little off-putting that, when they would do the different section titles, they would go to that black and white kind of still shot, of basically him looking like he, had a bean burrito for lunch or something. He sort of had a grimace on his face. And then they were back, to him talking. They could have done without that, in my opinion, but it was still done very well and enjoyed it.
And then the next one is called Finding Sarah Sutton, who doesn't appear on this disc, but...
I know, they didn't do Finding Janet Fielding because nobody knows where she is. But they did do Finding Sarah Sutton, which we did find quite funny because she doesn't appear in Enlightenment. So,
but that one was also pretty good. It's basically the same thing, starting from where she started to Doctor Who, past Doctor Who. Does she even do acting anymore? Because it didn't really mention that she did anything.
I don't think she does. I think from what I got from her talking was that that's why she wished she had gone to drama school, because when she left Doctor Who, she didn't really have, she wasn't prepared for handling that, and so I think she had some difficulty there. I obviously can't speak for her. I know she does Big Finish audios and things like that. But yeah, that was good. I enjoyed it. I think Too Entertained did a good job there.
Good job. And then the final one that we watched was called The Russell Hardy Christmas Party.
Yeah,
which was a musical number with
Peter Davison and Sandra Dickinson. At least I'm pretty sure that was Sandra Dickinson because man, it looked like Georgia Moffat. But she's wearing some pretty heavy rouge. She's dressed up like a Christmas fairy. And they actually do a little song and dance.
I really liked this one.
I did too. Whoever dug this nugget out.
This is very charming because he comes out and they play on words. Like she says something like, "We need a man who's charming and witty." And Peter Davis says, "Oh, well, then, and what?
And virile.
And virile."
Mm-hmm. And so he says, "Well, that's not me."
That's not me.
Yeah, he walks off.
Walk away. But yeah, I really like this.
And he sings. Peter Davison sings.
He said he was very nervous about singing. He didn't want to do that.
Yeah, but it makes a little sense, I guess, because the reason he missed Gallifrey last year is because he was doing a musical.
Right.
So of course I don't know how much singing he did in the musical because I didn't see it. It was Legally Blonde, the musical.
Blonde, which
but
not my cup of tea, but hey, good for him. He's got work.
That's right, exactly. Yeah. So. But yeah, that was really cute. Then we have the continuity announcements, which I got to be honest with you. Again, I'm very appreciative and supportive of Too Entertain and everything that they jam pack onto these discs. Never want to come off sounding like sour grapes, but I just don't get this. I don't know why they bother to put these on the disc. It's just somebody saying, and coming up next, Doctor Who, episode such and such, where they race. It's one of those things. It's what we call a bumper here.
It's the isolated score type thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, the isolated score.
Which is also on disc 1.
Okay.
There's an isolated score.
For those of us who do podcasts, okay, I would like to throw out a request that they do more clean title sequences as extras. Do a clean Fifth Doctor. Do one for every era, every time they change it, because a lot of times some of us like to reference a little bit of that music in our podcast. We're not trying to take anything from anybody, but it's a little difficult when you've got, you got to cut it real quick because they come in on an explosion or a Yeti chewing somebody's leg off or something like that. So, it would just, I find that to be more useful than the isolated music score or something like that. But again, that's just me. Then we have the PDF materials, which is the Radio Times article, and also the production Bible, which sounds very intriguing, but I didn't... you have to pull that up on your computer, and I didn't actually have it in my computer at the time to do that. So I'm going to try that and read up a little bit on the production Bible, because I think that would be a little intriguing there.
Well, that is the end of our mountain of extras.
Yes.
Incredible mountain.
An incredible mountain of extras. Would also like to say that we did get some feedback from Dave Hingley and from a couple of my friends from Facebook that were very complimentary about last episode's musical information from our own Dr. Phil, the official show doctor of Who on Who, Dr. Philip Cerna. And Dr. Phil's segment will be back in our next episode. I sort of waylaid him. He was getting ready for this one, and I called or email. I guess I emailed him, and I said, "Hey, listen, can you set Enlightenment aside and go for this one coming up, and put everything into it." Mm-hmm. So he actually called me, which kind of, was a little off-putting.
It was a little weird.
Mrs. Hui says,
hey, whatever.
There's somebody who left a message on our phone, a Dr. Phil, and I said, no, it's not the Dr. Phil you're thinking of. And
I can only imagine him calling the house.
Right. Hello, Mrs.
Bright-eyed
Hui.
and bushy-tailed.
That's right. Yeah. Don't need that. But so I did get to actually talk to Dr. Phil on the phone, and excuse me, very nice man, and so he's getting geared up.
All right,
for our next episode. So
our next episode, which is
we are doing the TV movie.
So we really will have all the classic Doctors down.
Yes, we are going to do the TV movie, and what we're going to do. For a couple of reasons. First of all, because the TV movie comes out as part of the Revisitations 1 box set, which is coming out in the UK, I believe the first week in October. If not the first week, the second week in October. We still don't have a release date here for Region 1 for America and Canada. But because we released the scoop here, we are going to go ahead and review the TV movie because it's, of course, McGann's only video outing. You expressed an interest in wanting to talk a little McGann. I would like to
do at least a segment discussing McGann as a doctor, since he was only on screen once. Maybe talk about some of the. I know you've listened to at least one of his big episodes.
I've listened to several of them.
And I've listened to quite a few of them myself, just to discuss him as a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
For the people that don't know.
Yeah. I think it's great. I've read a couple of the books too, and I agree. And so I'm looking forward to that. And Dr. Phil Dr. Phil promises that the musical segment alone, just for the 96 TV movie, is going to push our show over Podshock lengths.
I'm going to hold him to that.
So, yeah, I am too.
I'm going to measure the next Podshock episode, and I'm going to hold him.
So everybody get cozy for the next episode of Who
Settle
on
in.
Who. Yeah. Settle in for the long winter, folks, because, we're going to be covering the 96 McGann TV movies. It's sometimes referred to as The Enemy Within, but we just call it The Movie.
The Movie. And then after that, I would like to start the Key to Time series. I know we had talked about that.
Yes.
On and off, and we both own it, so...
Right, we both own it, and it's a box set that we can kind of run through.
And I actually have the Super Sexy Special Edition, so...
I know you do. And good for you.
Yeah.
I've got the old analog one with the tubes and the wires hanging out, but it's okay. I think you can probably cover the differences. What I don't have on mine. So yeah, that's fine. But all right. Well, I think that brings us to a close of this episode of Who on Who. I'd like to again thank all of you for taking your valuable time to listen to us ramble on as we are wont to do.
We'd love to do.
Yes. But again, you can reach us at feedback@whoonwho.com. Check us out on Facebook. You can go to the website, www.whoonwho.com, where you can also go to the store link and buy your, say it for me, T-shirt. You can also get Who on Who T-shirts there. We're going to be constantly updating the amount of merchandise there, and we appreciate all the support that you give us. Even taking time out of your schedules just to email and let us know that you listen to the show.
That you like us.
That you like us. That is support enough, and we really do appreciate each and every one of you. So until next time, take care.
All right, see ya.